Hey everybody, welcome to Chan's Logic, episode 4. Steph, Pepe, and myself are excited. He's ready to go. He's gone already. So we're going to get this kick started.
What is the best way to promote and manage products such as supplements?
So when you're bringing on products like supplements, the first thing I always look at when I want to sell things or bring something into my gym is I have to look at whether or not I'm going to bring value to the people that I'm bringing this stuff to. If it's not going to give them value, if you're just giving them a bunch of garbage, it's not going to benefit them, then don't do it because you're not going to be able to sell it effectively. But if you find some supplements you like that are really going to help people, like for example, in our gym, we sell a couple of things. There's only like 5 things: magnesium, a little bit of fish oil, and a few other things. And these are the things that we found that really benefit people and that help people in the long run. And so the way we would sell those and promote them is we would write blog posts or we would talk to them about what it's going to do to help them and why it's going to help them. And then we would make a decision as to whether or not they need it. Not everybody needs the supplements we have, so we don't push it on everybody. We never push anything. It's, do you need it? Why do you need it? Then let's talk about buying it. So be real with these people. It's going to benefit their lifestyle. And if that's the case, then we need to push it on to them.
Like the big, supplement stores and whatnot, you walk in there and they're like, well, you should buy this and let's buy this. And then they don't really know what exactly they're actually selling you. It's kind of like this is popular and this is the cool new thing, or, and you end up walking out of there with like $500 worth of stuff and you got bags full, and then it just goes and sits on your counter. So you want to make sure everything that you are selling or you are at least providing, for your members are things that they're actually going to use. So,
and then when you're bringing it into your gym or your store, you need to figure out what the margins are going to be on these supplements. So whatever you're going to get a certain percentage off the actual rate, and you need to sell it for probably at least around a 50% markup in order to make any sort of money to be able to keep doing it. You don't want to do this stuff for free. You are helping people with it, and you're going to make money in the process, and it's important that you're compensated so that way you're interested in helping them in what they need.
This applies for other businesses outside of the gym. It's the same kind of concept. If you are trying to bring in goods or some kind of product that you think is going to be a good seller, a good success for your business, just make sure it's all high quality. It's something that you would use. If you wouldn't use it, probably don't sell it, because you've got to be able to at least say like, I love this stuff, or know your products, know what you're supplying. Make sure that you test everything first. Make sure you like it yourself, but make sure that everything product wise, good wise, you would use that same thing, whether or not it's gym supplements or lotions or oils, for massage or whatever kind of stuff. But just make sure it's all high quality and stuff that you would use too.
Yeah, if you don't support it and you wouldn't take it, then why should you push it on to the people who you're telling to take it? This is their health you're talking about. You need to take it seriously with them. One thing that really upsets me is when someone approaches me and says, hey, I've got this fantastic new supplement. It's going to make grass green and it's going to make the sky blue. But the most important thing of all, it's going to make you lots of money. As soon as they tell me that, I immediately discredit them, and I hope they fall off a 2-story cliff.
That's something about 2 stories, huh? Because you just won't kind of get hurt where it just sets back enough.
Yeah, because I don't want anyone to die, because that's mean. I just want you to fall off so you get hurt a little bit, and then you don't want to sell those dumb supplements anymore.
Teach you a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did we give value to that?
I don't know. Did we give value to that, Erica? She's not even listening.
The dying part, yeah. I mean, I value that.
Did we help people manage and promote supplements?
I think so.
So wait, here's the fun.
You wouldn't take it yourself? Don't sell it.
Yeah. So here's a plan of action when you want to bring supplement into your gym. Write out a blog post. Talk about how it's going to benefit people, not why it's going to benefit them, but how it's going to help them live life a little better, live life a little easier, and then function better. So if you can answer those three things in a blog post and you can give it to your members and they like that, they're going to respond and they're going to want the product. And then you should keep the product. If you can't write about why they need it and why it's going to benefit them and their lifestyle, then probably don't put it in. So get a blog post out there, maybe put up a video talking about the benefits of it, get that content out on the social media, email it out to people, and then they're informed. Now they have the ability to make that conscious decision that the product is a good fit for them, and if they do want it and you put it out there correctly, with your blog posts and social media posts, then you can talk to them about whether or not they need it. There still needs to be a conversation with them as to whether or not it's important as well.
Build interest before you just push it out there.
Yeah, everything's about building interest, and from that you can build a following. Once you build that following, then they'll purchase what you have. But don't use this to be a bad person. Don't sell them crap. Don't sell them garbage. Sell them good quality things that they need.
How do I know when I'm ready to expand to a second location?
When you're looking to open a second location or you're looking at expanding your business into a new area, there's probably three things we need to focus on. We need to make sure, number one, that our finances are in order. So when we look at opening that second location, are you in a position to where you can finance that second location? And I'm talking about every last penny without making anything from it, not a single dime. Can you finance that and the operational costs associated with that for 3 years?
Right, off of what you're making off your first location. Can your first location financially support that second location also, right?
Yes. And so if you can support that second location for 3 years without making a dime off of it, then you're probably ready to open a second. If you say no to that question, don't even think about it. You're going to open that second one. You're going to struggle. You're going to jump on the struggle bus. You're going to fail. You're going to probably get pretty close to going bankrupt, and you're going to have to close it, and it's going to just turn into a pretty terrible ordeal. The next thing we need to kind of focus on is our current location completely at its max? We can't offer anything else. We can't increase our offerings. We can't increase the amount of time we have things spread throughout the day at the first one. And if you can say that every single hour of every day is taken up and there's nothing you can add to add value to that first one, then maybe you're ready to add the second location. Too many people try to prematurely add all these things and want to jump into that second location before they're even ready. You probably shouldn't even look into a second location until you're at least 3 or 4 years into your business, because then you're at the real level of business.
Yeah. So not only just expanding what you have to offer, but even expanding like your physical location where you're at. If you can make your space bigger, if you can offer more, like you said, throughout the day, if you can offer more by bringing in a couple more, employees, doing that, expanding those, every aspect of what your second location would need. If you can fit that into your first location still, you should probably do that first until you're like literally busting out of the seams like of your business, and then maybe consider your second location. But if you still have downtime throughout your day, or you have, your staff that are like half doing things sometimes and half, not there and are capable of being there all the time, or, are willing to be there more, work on that first,
Okay, the third part is staffing the second. I'm dying.
Oh, go ahead.
My $7 bottle.
$7 for that dumb bottle.
It's delightful.
Gone in 2 seconds.
See, like, this gives me value. If this was $45, I'd probably still buy it because it's delicious and I really enjoy it. Now, if it was just a bottle of apple juice and it was $40, then I wouldn't buy it because it gives me no value.
Apparently, it's really delicious.
It is. And that's cayenne pepper. It tickles my throat.
So the third point we're going to talk about is staffing your current and potential second location, and how you should expand it within your first location. There's a concept here. Expand your first location first.
Yes, we should expand that first location first. And when we try to move staff, you're usually going to move someone from your current location into your new location to make that one work really well. But oftentimes what happens is you move someone who's really good at making that function well into the new one, and then that current one will fall apart. Because sometimes that person is the keystone that's making everything function well together. And now you have a transition period to make this new person learn and understand how things are going to function and work well. And now that the new location has to have a lot of focus, you have to expand your staff in the long term. So we usually need to double the amount of staff we have. We need to double the amount of training we have. And we're looking at a 3-year progression in order to make that functional and effective. I think a lot of people open that second location way too early. Sometimes it's 9 months to a year. If you've only been open for a year, you don't even know what a business is yet. You're still kind of an employee. You're still in the honeymoon period. You're still living the dream. You haven't even been through the ups and downs in business. So don't even think about it yet.
Yeah, we're in our third year, and I wouldn't even consider opening a second location because mainly we still have opportunities of expanding what we're doing in our first location. So, and not even that. It's not even necessarily that you could expand and have a second location. Maybe consider taking your knowledge and your expertise and specialty, whatever you do, and partnering up with another business and offering, a specialty class inside of that business or something, some weekly or monthly like special event, with so and so that you're offering now to another business to help both of your businesses grow. That's an expanding. That's a way to expand without having to open that second location, and then there's no overhead with that too.
Yeah, it's like if you have a shop that teaches basket weaving, but then this other guy over here has a business that he's trying to work and get more out of, and he teaches underwater basket weaving.
Oh.
So now he can come into your business, teach that underwater basket weaving once a week, and kind of help you and promote what you have and increase the value of what you have, and then increase the value of what he has into a new market.
Is that a thing?
I think I've heard of it at least once or twice. If you're
weaving.
watching this and you know someone who does underwater basket weaving, send me their info so I can talk to them a little bit and get to know this industry. Just send it to Chandler@StoneAgeFuel.com.
That's interesting. But yeah, so considering that third point with your staff, there is a lot more than just hiring people on and being like, all right, I'm opening a second location, let's go. I mean, for us in our industry with our gym, our trainers go through 12 to 18 months of a lot of things. It's not just like in the gym training. They do online school. They have to do kind of like practical, application for what they're getting ready to do once we kind of release them to let them go on their own. But it's not just like a month training that you can do and be like, all right, here we go. You guys are all trained up. Let's open this second location and off we go. I mean, there's so much more that goes into just trying to train up a new person in a few months to be able to run a second location. And then the other thing too with your staff, if you're trying to keep, the value and the community and that niche of what you've created in your first location, in that second location, which you should, your first and second location should be identical clones of each other, because you have created something that people value and that you want to expand. But it's at some point, if you don't do it the right way, 1 and 2 are going to be slightly different from each other, and it's going to start creating different niches, really,
create a clashing atmosphere, especially if you try to get people to go back and forth between them.
Right. And then they're going to realize, well, here I've loved, location 1, now I'm at location 2, and things are a little bit different. So there's a lot to consider with trying to open a second location.
I would say you need to have your ducks in a row. You need to have your finances in a row. You need to have your staffing in a row. And you shouldn't even consider or think about doing it until you're out of the honeymoon period of your business, at least year 3.
How do I create content that people will be interested in reading?
If you want to create content that people want to read and that people want to be interested in, you have to actually interest the people. And this requires actually listening to what they're saying, actually listening to what they're doing, and listening to the reasons they came in to see you. So your content should be written around in basically a reverse order. You need to think about what they want, why they want it, why they're doing it, and you need to ask them all these questions, identify why they came in, what the specific ideas were that made them come in, and what the pains were that brought them to you. Once you figure out that, then you need to reverse engineer those words into blog posts and videos and write to them. That way you're kind of speaking to your audience.
You should have good quality content that you can spit out regularly. I mean, if you've created a community and a niche that you are comfortable with, and those are your kind of people that you've spoken to their pain points at some point, which is why they come to you now, should be pretty easy for you to be able to write stuff that people are going to want to read. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. Everybody has a blog. If you don't, then you probably should be blogging, even if it's just about your own thoughts and whatnot. But it has to be interesting. I mean, most people are pretty good about, just writing stuff, but there's always those few that just pop out, and those are the ones that people are going to kind of go back to. So make sure it's interesting too, just not like a blah, 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 real boring college paper or anything. Like, you know, make it raw. I mean, it can have, you know, funny stuff in it, you know, like your own stories, personal, you know, little tidbits here and there. So make it something that like real people are going to want to read.
Yeah, this comes back into the pain points. So if you're going to make it raw, real, and emotional, you need to identify these specific pain points. If people are coming to you because they're depressed, you need to write about how depression and what's happening interacts with what you're doing. If people are coming into you because of any other reasons, you need to identify those and write around those. It's not a post about, come to me, I want to sell, sell, sell. It's, here's what this is going to do. This is why it helps this situation, and this is how it can help. And there should be zero selling in your blogs. You're either telling a story or you're talking about pains. Stories are extremely powerful, and if you can identify people's pain points, that tells them that you're actually listening to them, and that's going to produce good content. So the way to produce content that people actually want to listen to is by actually listening to them.
What have been some of your failures as a business owner, and how did you learn from them?
So this question is kind of exciting. It's a good point and place to learn from. We got the question, what are some of your failures and kind of what did you learn from them? So I think one of the initial kind of failures we had when we were thinking about opening a business, we weren't quite sure if we wanted to do it on our own or with a partner, is we attempted to pursue a partnership at first. And what we found in the realm of partnerships is everything has to be kind of written down, everything has to be contracted, lawyers have to go back and forth. And if one party ultimately wants all control, it's going to fail from the get-go. Mm-hmm. You have to have an even split. If one party overpowers the other, it's going to be easy to push you out of the business if things ever go wrong. And so I think that was one of our initial failures, in that it turned into a success because we opened our own place and it became pretty successful. But they wanted us to give up most of the power that we would have had in order to allow them to have the ultimate authority, which would have made us employees.
Right. You can't have a partnership if you can't, 50-50 agree and not have to be worried about like, any day now I could just kind of get pushed out of this.
Yeah, and often partnership stems from the beginning of a friendship. You talk to people and they say, no, you can trust me, and obviously you can trust your friends and lean on them, but ultimately in a partnership, most of them fail, and when they do fail, that's when things kind of get ugly and when you have to kind of figure out what's going on. And if we were to allow that partnership to happen, we just get pushed out with no real problem or a serious legal battle.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, we caught that like early enough and decided we just want to do things for ourselves and maintained that friendship for the most part. So, that could have set us up for a big failure, though. So it was almost, almost failure, but success in the long run.
Yeah, and even with the people we were partnership, they're still good friends of ours. We talk to them and everything. So the other thing to learn from this is don't hold bad blood against people. You never know what they're going to be able to do for you in the future, and there's no reason to hate or dislike people for any reason.
That kind of stems into the other part of the thing that I think was kind of a failure on our part, especially because we were new with the whole running a business, and most of us kind of just jump in and go for it, and I mean that's great, do it, just make it happen. But from the get-go, kind of you need to make sure that everything's laid out in stone, like all the guidelines, all the expectations for you, and then any staff that you have. I think we kind of just let it fly and go on the whim, and we were just having fun and having our friends kind of in the gym helping us and whatnot, and that's when things kind of can get out of hand, where you just need to make sure that how you want your business run is all laid out in stone. Ultimately, you're the owners. And of course, in any business, people sometimes, don't like their bosses, managers, or like the owners, but they do it, because they enjoy what they're doing or whatnot. But kind of the same thing with the partnership. You just don't want to have any bad blood because something went wrong and then you have to be the bad guy. So just make sure that everything you do is just laid out.
Yeah, and so that comes 100%. Into with your employees, you have to lay out expectations, what you want from them, what they can expect from you, and it needs to be set in stone. Obviously, you need to give your employees some ability to be creative and kind of do what they need to do and shine with what they shine best at. But at the same time, they need to understand parameters, expectations, what they're there for, what they're not there for, and what you kind of want out of them in the end. And if you don't set those expectations up at the beginning, then you're going to set yourself up for failure, and you're going to ultimately end up being the bad guy because things are going to go wrong with your employees, and they're going to look at you as the one who failed them. And ultimately, you did fail them because you didn't give them the opportunity to know what they needed to do and how they needed to do it. Mm-hmm. And so for us, one of the biggest learning experiences was we need to define what they need to do, put them through a proper training program, and then organize them after that. We give our people now, they have an incredible amount of the ability to be creative and do what they want to do and do what they need to do, but they also know what the expectations are, where they need to do it, how they need to do it, and what kind of needs to happen.
Yeah. It's a long process to become a staff member here with us. So
yeah, for example, our program now it's 12 to 18 months of development, learning and understanding mechanics, nutrition, biochemistry, physiology, functional movement mechanics, and then it's shadowing a period of one-on-one sessions, followed by doing a period of one-on-one sessions while being watched, followed by a period of shadowing group classes, followed by another period of doing one group classes while being watched. Finally, after all of that, you're allowed to do your own thing.
I think those are some pretty good, at least learning curves that we had. I think a failure on our part to take care of ourselves was when we first started. We were just right off the bat, like, we're going to have all these classes, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m. I mean, we had like 7 classes a day. At this point, we're down to our 4 to 5 a day main classes, with some weightlifting, sprinkled in here and there. But at least for our community, we learned a little later on that we have a lot of people that are just, people that run their own businesses or have the 9 to 5 kind of thing. And so here we were killing ourselves and hating life, trying to run a 5 a.m. day to a 10 p.m., night. So we learned that later after we were both dragging and like, oh gosh, like, what do we get ourselves into? And now it's much better. I mean, we've got a lot of free time. We still have a growing community, time to do other projects. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if we were still trying to grind 5 to 10 every day.
Yeah, and that's the idea of, if you're going to grind, you need to be grinding to make the business progressive. At the beginning, we were just grinding 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., just literally in the business. We didn't have any time to develop or work on it. We had to learn after a while that it's, even though a couple people might get upset and say that you're supposed to be there for them 24/7, you have to kind of realize at some point that in order to be there for them when they need it, you have to actually give yourself some time to develop. You have to grow the business, or the business isn't going to be around and nobody's going to get help. And so you have to figure out what hours are going to work for you to be in there, what employees you need to get in there to work their specific hours, and what the people who are your customers want. And so if the majority of your customers are looking at evening kind of coursework or afternoons or mornings, then you need to orient what you're doing towards that. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be 1 or 2 who don't like what's going on and who don't want it. And sometimes, even though we want to appease the majority of people, we kind of have to think about the whole group. And if we try to appease the 1 or 2, we're always going to be killing ourselves to make that happen. And so that's kind of one of our biggest things at the beginning, was we have to make literally everybody happy. And now we know we can keep the group happy, and that keeps the gym in a good place and the gym flowing well.
Yep. A happy second home.
Yeah, and now it's exciting. Now we can help others. We can coach a few of the classes. We have people like Erica and Aaron who are out there coaching their own people, have their solid classes, and everybody. We have the time to actually develop the gym, grow the gym from the outside, and make sure that people are still coming in, everybody else is happy. Done this one too many times, feel the